अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Sarvebhyo Namaha. Welcome to this session. We are now in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. We have completed the first three shlokas until the last session. So today we are doing from the fourth shloka onwards. We'll be doing 5 shlokas today. From shlokas 4 to shloka 8. Shloka 4 to shloka 8, 5 shlokas. We will cover them today. We will quickly mention what was done in the previous shloka before going here. The first 3 shlokas of the 16th chapter dealt with the daivi qualities and behaviors. We studied 26 daivi qualities. Daivi or divine qualities are those virtuous qualities in human beings which are in alignment with dharma. And because they are in alignment with dharma, they give happiness. They produce happiness for everyone, not only for the person who is practicing them, but also for the others with whom they are in touch. So that is for daivi qualities. And today we begin with the asuri qualities. Shri Bhagavan, I will now read the fourth shloka. दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम्. So Shri Bhagavan in this shloka covers 5 asuri qualities, 6 asuri actually: dambha, darpa, abhimana, krodha, parushyam, and ajnanam. So first I will read the translation, and then we will go forward and read each one of them. He says, O Partha, deceit and duplicity, dambha, pride, arrogance, that is darpa, expectation of respect and honor, anger, abusiveness, harshness, and the lack of discrimination between right and wrong. These are the qualities of one born with the asuri or demoniac inner nature, sampat. Okay, so he says, Ajnanam cha abhijatasya sampadam asurim. Asurim sampadam bhavati. Abhijatasya. Asurim sampadam abhijatasya ete gunaha bhavanti. That's what he's trying to say. So now we will read each of them separately. The first quality is dambha. Dambha refers to hypocrisy or an external display of dharma, but internally oriented towards adharma. So we see sometimes people showing dharma outside because there is a certain kind of a respect that comes in society when people become dharmic. People are seen as dharmic. Like I went to the Kumbh Mela, then in the Kumbh Mela I took a dip, dubki mara. So I took dip at cold temperature early in the morning. So you want everyone to know that. Everyone should see it so that they will appreciate and they will say, what a dharmic person, what a unique experience he got. He is spiritual, he is blessed, etc. Okay? So when somebody is doing that, they may be genuine also. It's not that everybody who goes to Kumbh Mela is like this, but it is possible that some people also go there because they want to show off. Internally, there is no sense of dharma. It's only that the Kumbh Mela provides a pretext to get some social attention, some popularity, and so on. So they go there and then they have a good time, they enjoy, they experience the crowd, the mela, the noise and the dust and everything, and also the dip, and then the photography which happens around it, the videos, photos taken, and immediately the presence on social media so that people around can see it and make their comments, and then they can share their experience, they can talk about it. Internally, there is no sense of dharma. There is no thinking that, I am doing this for my spiritual elevation. There is only a thinking that how many people will like, will show their like and their appreciation and so on. So if the mentality is like that, I'm not again saying that everybody is like this. Many people are not like that. Many people are very genuine who go to Kumbh Mela. But whoever is like this, then for them this quality is called dambha. Dambha means duplicity, external display for the sake of popularity, social recognition, etc. But internal absence of dharma. It is called dambha. So dambha is also done in other aspects of life, not only in the example that I gave, but even in non-religious activities, in our normal activities too. It may be possible. In fact, it's very much possible to do all our activities without making a show, without showing off to others about what we are doing, why we are doing, and so on. In some cases, it's necessary to show what we are doing to others. That's a part of the work. And only by showing the work happens properly. But many times it's not necessary to show what we are doing. It's not necessary to make a show of it. It's not necessary to attract attention. It's not necessary for others to appreciate what we are doing, right? So if we chase that, if we are chasing that recognition, popularity, etc., by making a show, then it is called dambha. And dambha is a disturbance. It's a disturbance to sincere, honest activity. And it's something that we would actually want to avoid if we want to really succeed in the long run. So this is called dambha. And another example or another instance of dambha is when we speak. So, saying things which are socially correct or politically correct without meaning in them or believing in them. Okay, appreciating somebody, showing, for example, if somebody wins a reward, okay, then we may not really internally feel that we want to appreciate that for whatever reason, right? We may feel that okay, there is nothing so big in this. After all, it's just a run of the mill thing. Everybody does it. There's no big deal in this. So there may be actually no real intention inside to appreciate them. But then when we see others appreciating them, we think that we don't want to be left out. If we are left out, then we would be politically incorrect or socially incorrect. So we should also go and say, okay. So sometimes we see that somebody is wishing happy birthday on email. And so in a group email, everybody is wishing everyone happy birthday, happy birthday. So you don't really feel like wishing that person because you don't even know that person. But then everybody is doing it, and if you don't do it, then you will be left out. So you have to show that you are also there. Your presence is also important. So you also wish, and then you make a big statement. Now, if you genuinely want to feel, make that person feel good, if you genuinely appreciate without expecting any return, then it is fine. That's in alignment with dharma. But when you don't genuinely feel like that, but you want to just make a show and try to get some mileage out of it in return, then it is called dambha. So it's a very subtle thing, and we should be able to reflect on this in our own self, why we do things the way we do them, why we say certain things or why we behave in certain ways. By reflecting upon this, we should be able to discriminate between our own subtle tendencies and remove whatever is not proper and reinforce whatever is proper. So this is about dambha. The second is darpa. The word sounds similar, but what it actually means is arrogance or pride. Okay, so while dambha means duplicity, hypocrisy, or kapatta, darpa means arrogance, pride. And this arrogance or pride can come because of various reasons. And in a scholarly community like ours, it often comes because of knowing something which somebody else does not know. Okay, we might be knowing something which another person is not aware of. We might have mastered a particular technique, or we may have developed a particular competence in some area by knowing the literature or who has published what, or we might have even managed to get a R&R or even published a paper. So suddenly, we are seen as people with some knowledge which somebody else does not have, and that can give us arrogance. It can make us feel proud, arrogant, etc. So knowledge is one of the sources of one of the common sources of arrogance, and we see this not only in a scholarly community but everywhere around. And one of the reasons that people don't share knowledge is that, of course, the primary reason they don't share is because they feel insecure. It makes them insecure that if they share their knowledge, then they will not become, or they will become redundant, and they will lose their importance in the organization. Another reason is that knowledge is a source of pride and source of being able to show superiority over someone else. So even if one's job is secure, one can control others, one can make others bow down to them with their knowledge. And so, not sharing knowledge is a way to protect that asset. So, what one thinks is an asset. Okay? That's why the word sampad is used, because people think it is an asset. So, they are able to use it for arrogant purposes, arrogance promoting purposes. So, darpa. Similarly, wealth is obviously a source of pride and arrogance, power in society, fame, celebrityhood, even nobility by being born in a family, okay, being the son of a rich man, even without having all the other things which are listed before nobility, being born in a family which has a high dignity in society, or a person who doesn't have any of these things. He neither has knowledge, nor wealth, nor power, nor fame, nor nobility, but just misconception that he is something big. We do find people like that. Sometimes, even among my students, I find someone who has this kind of a misconception, carries themselves around as if they are somebody very big. But they don't have anything. They just don't know anything. They do badly in the subjects, but still carry themselves around like they are big. They talk like that, speak like that. Okay? To some extent, some of these things are present in us too. And of course, we don't have to worry about others first. We have to worry about ourselves first. We need to reflect inside and see what is inside us, which we need to remove and rectify. So, if there is any element of pride or arrogance because of any of these reasons, or any misconception that we have about ourselves, then it's important to work on that and completely get rid of it, completely remove it. So, darpa. The third is abhimana. Abhimana is an asuri guna when it's like this. When one believes that one deserves a supernormal appreciation, respect, honor, and worship in society than one is naturally entitled to. Okay, so by virtue of our natural abilities, qualification, etc., people in society, respect us or honor us in some way, and that is something that is natural. It just happens. We don't have to ask for it. But then it may happen that we believe that we actually are much bigger than what we really are. And this is a problem. And this leads to expecting others to respect us or honor us more than what we really deserve. And this is called abhiman. Abhiman is that fallacy in us or that malaise in us, which makes us crave for this kind of appreciation, respect, honor, which is more than normal, which is more than what is socially natural. The opposite of this is being an amani. And this is what being an amani is, what is really favorable for someone who wants to discover their true self, the true happiness inside themselves. An amani is a person who, even his normal respect, he does not want people to give. He says it's not that he wants disrespect, but even when people respect him for what he really is, he feels uncomfortable. He says no. Because whatever I am, whatever knowledge I have, whatever qualification I have is not my credit. It's not, the credit for that is not me, not due to me. It is actually that Almighty, that Supreme, Sri Bhagavan, that Ishvara. By His blessings, I have got it. Everything happens by His blessings. Nothing is mine. I don't own it. I don't own that qualification. In this life, I have been given a particular birth, and in that birth, certain kinds of abilities have been given to me for doing seva to Him. And they are not there for others to respect me. It's not for me to earn others' respect. So, an Amani, a person with some knowledge, thinks like this. He sees that. He's able to see. It's not just a artificial thinking. It's not something he says with his mouth. He may not say this with his mouth because once you say something with your mouth, its value is gone. But he believes it. He genuinely believes inside that he does not deserve any extra respect or does not deserve even that respect which others think is due to that person. Even that respect he doesn't want to accept. He doesn't look for it, and when it comes by itself too, he tries to avoid it. He goes away. In the last class, I gave the example of Madhavendra Puri, that particular Leela, and there are so many examples in society we see today. Also, they may not look like saintly people, but they have some of these qualities in them. So Amani and Abhiman. Abhiman is a quality that is present in people with the Asuri Guna. It's Asuri Guna. And when we see this in ourselves or in others, we should know that it's present. And if it is within ourselves, we should work to remove it. We should remove that Abhiman completely and come towards becoming a daivi person. So this is Abhiman. Yes, another meaning of the word Abhiman, very important for the path of yoga, the path of spiritual progress, is our material identity. It is not about craving for respect or honor, like I just described. This meaning is that our identity as something material, which is coming from our body. Ontologically, we are not this body. We are actually the Jivatma residing in the body. And our identity is only as a Jivatma who is a part of Sri Bhagavan. Mamevamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutas Sanatana. We are a Sanatana Amsha of that Sri Bhagavan. He says that in the 15th chapter. So when we develop an identity as, oh, I'm a man, I'm a professor, I'm so and so, or I'm a king, I'm this, I'm the father of so and so, I'm the husband of so and so, I'm, whatever. So when this kind of identity becomes strong in us, regardless of whether we expect excess respect or not, it is called abhiman. And this abhiman is called deha abhiman. Deha abhiman means dehat bhavati. It comes from the body. It emerges from our material body. So the path of yoga trains us to realize that we are not this body. We are something pure. We are the Jivatma living in the body. And this body will perish, whereas we will never perish. We are eternal. Our life is eternal. And therefore, we should relate with our own self and not with this body. We should maintain the body, make use of the body, take care of the body as long as it is there. But we should also be aware that one day this body will be given up. It's going to expire. So, keeping that in mind, this abhiman should not be developed. Or this abhiman, when it develops, should be cut out, should be removed, should be eliminated. Okay, so that's also the understanding of abhiman. It's very important. So, these are the first three qualities listed in the fourth shloka of the 16th chapter. Next, the fourth quality listed is krodha. Krodha, we know, means anger, and we have discussed anger on numerous occasions, so I won't go into much detail here. The fifth quality is called parushyam. Parushya is about the harshness in our speech, being rude to others, being very crude, uncouth, being, you know, not caring, not being sensitive to whether this statement will hurt the other person or cause a disturbance or mislead the other person. So, speaking in a manner that hurts others, being harsh to others, is called parushya. So, we see a lot of this also around, and sometimes, it comes out of us too. We become impatient with someone, we become very harsh, very rude, crude. So, it's for us to reflect upon ourselves and ask whether it's required to speak like that. As much as possible, our default condition should be to never speak like this, to be soft, be polite, respectful to everybody, regardless of whether they are very senior people or people at our level or very junior people. Regardless of that, to speak to everybody in a polite, respectful manner should be our default condition. And like I've said before, although that is our default condition, there are certain instances in life which require us to speak like this. For example, when somebody is deliberately cheating us, or we know will cheat us if we are too polite with them. Somebody who will exploit us if we are too polite with them. When we know that because of wisdom, because of experience, then we may sometimes have to be very harsh, or sometimes have to be very firm with them, very stern with them in our speech. Our speech may not be the softest of speech at that point of time. So Parushya, therefore, has a certain application to it in the path of dharma too, and it should be used carefully when it is required. Just like a surgeon's knife has a proper use, and it can also be misused by somebody who wants to misuse it. So, similarly, parushya should be used properly when it is required, otherwise, it should not be used. The sixth quality listed here is ajnana. Ajnana, as we know, means the absence of jnana or ignorance, the presence of ignorance. And here, specifically as a asuri quality, it means the absence of wisdom or viveka. So, what does it mean? It means actually the lack of proper insight into what will happen if I do something, or what will happen if I don't do something, etc. So, this kind of thinking, which guides our actions, our speech, our thinking in a proper direction, and something which comes upon experience and also from Shastra, By studying the Shastra, we develop the sense of, what is right, what will do good to us, what will do good to others, how to think properly, how to think in the correct manner towards others, towards ourselves, towards the Ishvara. All this we learn from the Shastra, and that develops our wisdom. The absence of such wisdom is obviously will be there in a person who has no exposure to Shastra, or who has exposure to other Asuric people, who's been in the company of other Asuric people. So that's called Ajnana. And Ajnana makes a person do more Asuric things and incur more and more papa, by which their suffering gets assured for the future. Future suffering is assured when somebody does papa. So Ajnana is the sixth quality among the list of Asuri qualities, and these are all listed. These first six qualities are listed in the fourth shloka of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So next we move forward. In the fifth shloka, Sri Bhagavan says, Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata mashuchas sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava. So this shloka, I'll read the translation, then I will explain. So Sri Bhagavan says, divine inner wealth, Daivi Sampad, serves to liberate one from material existence. Daivi Sampat, Vimokshaya, means it leads one to liberation. It serves the purpose of liberation. It frees one from material miseries, anxieties. But Nibandhaya Asuri Mata, the Asuri Sampad leads to Nibandhanam, means bondage, increases suffering. It makes one more materially indulged, more materially attached, and therefore increases that person's suffering in the future. So Daivi Sampad leads to happiness, whereas Asuri Sampad leads to more suffering. So very simple logic why somebody should pursue Daivi Sampad. Then he says, O Pandava, worry not. Ma Shuchaha, O Pandava, don't worry. Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi. You are born with Daivi Sampad. Okay, so in case my earlier statement made you feel that you may be actually having Asuri Sampad, don't worry. I know that you are born with Daivi Sampad. So you are born with Daivi Sampad, and that is your divine inner wealth. And that is why also I have chosen you as the instrument for giving the Bhagavad Gita to this entire world. Okay, so Arjuna has a very intimate relationship with Sri Bhagavan, and he is always with Bhagavan in that particular Leela. Throughout their life, they grow up together. There's a lot of interaction between them, and till the end, they are together in the Mahabharata. Next, we move forward. द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः asuram partha me shruno. So he says, O Partha, there are two types of human beings born in this world, the divine, Daiva, and the demoniac, Asura. The divine has been already elaborately described. Now hear from me about the demoniac. Daivo Vistarashaf Proktaha. I've already explained Daiva Guna. So what does he mean by that Vistarashaf Proktaha? First, in the 16th chapter itself, in the first three shlokas, he has listed the 26 qualities. But if we go even earlier, in the earlier chapters, for example, in the 13th chapter, he lists the 20 qualities of Jnana, which are all actually daivi qualities. Similarly, if you go to the 12th chapter, then in the last 8 shlokas of the 12th chapter, he lists several qualities of his bhaktas, which are all daivi qualities. So, in this manner, in every other chapter, Sri Bhagavan touches upon some of the daivi qualities. He's all the time talking about daivi guna, daivi sampat. But Asura Guna, he has not gone into in so much detail. He has barely touched upon it here and there. So now in the 16th chapter, he says, Asuram Partha Meshunu. Now onwards, I'm going to talk about the Asura Gunas in the rest of this chapter. So about 12 shlokas, roughly about 12 shlokas from now, he'll be only elaborating on the Asura Gunas. So let's go next to the next shloka. The seventh shloka says, प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जनाना विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारो न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते. So he says pravrittim cha nivrittim cha. So Pravritti and nivritti both are not present in the asura people. Na viduhu asuraha. The asura people do not know what is meant by pravritti, what is meant by nivritti. So, what actually do these words mean? Pravritti means engagement in dharma. Actually, the word vritti in Sanskrit refers to two things. One is an entity which exists. Anything which exists is called vrittihi, or existence. Existence of anything in anything else. The existence of something is called vrittihi. So an entity which exists is called vrittihi, or existence is called vritti. So pravritti, prakrishtaropena vrittihi, existence in dharma or engagement in dharma, following dharma. Nivritti means not engaging in something, not existing in something. So nivritti means abstention from something. So the people who are asuric, na viduhu means to know or they know. Na viduhu, they don't know. So the asura janas, they don't know what is meant or what it involves to be engaged in dharma and what it involves to be abstaining from adharma. We are supposed to engage in dharma, we are supposed to abstain and have nivritti from adharma. So instead, you will see that the Asuri people, they engage in adharma and they don't engage in dharma. So their nivritti happens from dharma and their pravritti happens in adharma. So that's the meaning of this line. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janaha na vidurasuraha. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janaha na vidurasuraha. And why? Na shaucham na pichacharam. There is no cleanliness in them. There is no achara in them. And there is no satya in them. Cleanliness, shaucham, acharaha is good conduct, and satyam means truthfulness. Nateshu vidyate. So, from this, we identify further qualities of the Asuric people. The seventh quality, pravritti nivritti avivekaha. That's how I have termed it. And this, like I just mentioned, is the lack of discrimination between engagement in dharma versus disengagement in adharma. This is called pravritti nivritti avivekaha. Shaucham na vidyate, lack of either external cleanliness or internal purity. Acharaha api na vidyate, lacks proper conduct. And satyam na vidyate, lacks truthfulness. So when we did the daivi qualities, we found the opposite of all this. We found that in the daivi qualities, shaucham is listed as one of the qualities, satyam is listed as one of the qualities. Right? So all these are the opposite of the daivi qualities. And we found that ahimsa, you know, daya, etc., are also listed. So they are all part of dharma. And so the asuric person is engaging in adharma. So the shloka gave us four more qualities. We now move forward. Asatyam apratishtamte jagadahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam himanyat kama haitukam. So this shloka actually is rather philosophically deep shloka. We will spend a little bit of time on understanding it. I will quickly read the translation, then we can move forward. So here, Sri Bhagavan says, they, the Asuric people, they say, this universe is false, it lacks a basis, and there is no Ishvara. It is produced by mutual contact. What else? In other words, it is caused only by lust. Okay, so this is a simple translation of this shloka, but we will go into it in a little more elaboration. So this shloka actually describes certain philosophies that Asuric people hold. And in the commentaries of both Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti and Sri Baladev Vidyabhushana, they have gone into some elaboration on them. They both explain in slightly different ways, although there is an overlap in their explanations. So let me show you the points that I made. The first point, or overall, I'm calling this as Anishvara Drishti. There's one quality called Anishvara Drishti from this, which represents the common thing in these philosophies, that there is an absence of someone called Ishvara. The philosophies which don't accept the presence of an entity called the Ishvara. So, what are the elements of these philosophies? One is the presence of asatya or mithya. They say that Everything in this universe is actually illusory. It doesn't really exist. It's just imagination, it's illusion. So the words in Sanskrit that are used are like ka pushpa. Ka means k. K means the sky or or space. Gaganaravinda. Gagana again means space or sky. Gaganaravinda means ka pushpa means a flower in the sky. Similarly, Gaganaravinda means a lotus in the sky, a lotus in space. So it's like saying there's a flower in the sky. So there's no flower in the sky. Flowers don't grow in the sky, they grow on the ground. Similarly, lotuses grow in lotus ponds, not in the sky. So these words are used in Sanskrit to indicate something that is just imaginative, something that's just illusory. So the Asuri people, one philosophy they have is that there is nothing that is really existing. It's all our imagination that it exists. It only appears like that. And another meaning of the word asatya is that what we call as satya, the daivi people call as satya, which actually is based on the Veda, the Purana, Itihasa, Smriti, etc., and which the daivi people hold as pramana. The Asuri people, they reject that, especially the Charvakavada. So the philosophy of materialism in our Indian knowledge system is called Charvaka. It comes from the breakup Charu Vak. Charu means that which is sweet to hear. Vak means speech. So speech that is sweet and nice to hear, things like this, that uh, just enjoy life. Khao pio ash karo. So there's nothing to life other than just enjoying. You live only once. So when you live only once, maximize the enjoyment you get. There is nothing further. Don't think about death. Okay, we hear this very often actually. Many motivational speakers also say this. Don't think about death. Think about, even at regardless of what age you are, you may be 90 years of age, but don't think that you are going to die. Don't think of all that. If it has to happen, it will happen. But think about your grandchildren. Think about all the different ways you can enjoy. Go on a cruise. Think of relationships. You can even have a relationship at the age of 90. So think of all that. You live only once, and make the best out of it. Optimize your life. So this is a common saying in Charvakavad. Trayo vedasya kartaraha bhanda dhurta nishacharaha. So dhurta means a person who is a cheater. Bhanda means like a mad person. Nishachara means ghosts, rakshasas who are active in the night time. So Bhanda Dhurta Nishacharaha, these kind of people have made the Veda and don't give any importance to the Veda. Okay, because that time the Veda was dominant. So Charvaka Vada was attacking the Veda and saying that don't give importance to it. It only destroys your happiness in life. It makes you do things like fasting. It makes you observe all kinds of discipline, which actually is just spoiling your enjoyment. You are here to enjoy. So just enjoy. Don't ask too many questions. Okay, so this is the language of the Asuras according to the Bhagavad Gita. Charvakavad is Asuravad. Okay. So similarly, Sri Baladeva points this out that Advaitavad, one of the interpretations of Vedanta, is Advaitavad, which actually was given by Shankara. And in Advaitavad, the universe, Jagat, is considered as Mithya. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. That's a famous statement in Advaitavad. So, Mithyatva is described using different types of analogies. For example, one analogy is called Shukti Rajata Brahma. Shukti means the shell of an oyster or an oyster which produces pearls. So, the shell of an oyster, actually, a pearl producing oyster, actually is very shiny. And from a distance, if it is lying on the beach, for example, it looks like it's made of silver. So from a distance, if somebody is walking on a beach and he sees this lying there, he may think actually a piece of silver is lying there, and he may run towards it and try to pick it up and take it. But then when he gets nearby, he realizes it's only a shell of an oyster. So then he makes a mistake, and so this is called mithyatva. So in this universe, uh, all these things appear real to us, and they appear real only because we are under the influence of Maya. There is something called Maya, and Maya makes us think that these things which we see around us, like this body, this table, all the computer, everything. These are all real things, the food we eat, but actually they don't exist at all. They are just imaginary. They are just like in the dream, we see different objects. We may see an elephant, we may see a chariot, we may see ourselves as the king. But when we get up, when we wake up from the sleep, the dream gets over, and then we see what we call reality. Right? So, what was in the dream was just an illusion. So, in the same way, Advaita says that all that we experience now when we are awake also is only a dream. And our real waking up happens when we discover our self, our true self, which is as the Jivatma, as an Atma. So that Jiva is Brahma. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. There is nothing else. Jiva is Brahma. Everything is Brahma. Jiva is Brahma. So what you see here is just that illusion. It's not what you should be thinking as real. Okay, so here Baladeva links this word Satya used here in the shloka, Asatya, to what Advaita rejects as Mithya. Asatya as Mithya. So he says Advaitavad also is being rejected by the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, the second word used in the shloka. So first word was asatyam. The second word was apratishtam. So apratishta means that which has no base or no foundation. Pratishtha means base or foundation or an establishment, like the foundation of a building on which the building is constructed. So this universe, according to the Asuri philosophy, is pratishtha. No pratishtha, has apratishtam, means there is no basis. It is just born of imagination. It has no basis. It has no real substance in it. Okay, and a very aligned meaning is that, and therefore, what we are calling as dharma and adharma. Okay, we are spending so much energy writing books and reading, studying shastra, which is full of descriptions of dharma and also descriptions of adharma. So all this distinction we make between dharma and adharma is just imaginary. There is no need to do that. We just need to live the way we are living and maximize the amount of enjoyment we can get. And creating this kind of artificial distinction is just based on illusion. It is foundationless. So reject it. Okay, this is the Asuravada. The third point, asatyam apratishtamte jagadahur anishwaram. They say that, Asuras say that this jagat is anishwara, means there is nothing called Ishwara. Again, Ishwara is a creation of our imagination. Sri Baladeva points out this logic given by some of the philosophies which counter the Veda, which try to refute the Veda by saying that if Ishvara was real, if there was a real entity called Ishvara that you describe as permanent, as somebody who is eternal and who is very stable, etc., then the creation that he has done, you say that this Jagat is his creation, then this creation also should be like that. But in this creation, we find everything to be momentary. They just get created and then they are destroyed after some time. So they don't last. Then how can you say that the Ishvara created? Jagat is so much, flickering, temporary, uh, fast changing, etc. So how can there be an Ishvara who has created this? If the Ishvara is permanent, then this Jagat also should be like him. And so there is nothing called Ishvara. They give that logic. So Baladeva points to that particular argument there, saying that this philosophy is also not accepted by Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita rejects that logic, doesn't accept it. Then the second line of the shloka says, Aparaspara Sambhutam. So what does it mean? Aparaspara Sambhuta. This means there are two meanings that come out in the Vyakyas. The first meaning is it is born. See here, Sambhutam means born. Aparaspara comes from the word parasparam. Paraspara we know in Hindi also means mutual, right? Mutual. Aparaspara means not mutual. So opposite of being mutual. So here it means aparaspara sambhuta means what is born is not born because of mutual, it's not because of the contact between parents. Okay. So how do we understand normally reproduction? It's because of the contact between parents that a child is born. But actually, that is not the reason. That's what this philosophy says. That it is not actually that contact. You think so, but it's not so. The parents and their intention are the causes of the child is just an illusion again, because we see that contact happening several times. Uh, male and a female, if they are, let's say, partners, or if they are mating with each other, then they may actually have union many times, but only once a child is born. Out of those many times they have contact with each other, suddenly in one of those random, which nobody can predict when it happens, on one of them, suddenly the female starts carrying a child, and nobody knows when that will happen, and nobody predicts it, nobody controls it. This is unlike a potter making a child, a potter making a pot. When a potter makes a pot, then he just goes with his knowledge into it, he goes with his knowledge and skill, and he designs the pot and he produces the pot. The potter's knowledge and skill and his effort makes the pot. There is a well defined process and a well defined outcome, and there we can say that the potter produced the pot. The potter is the cause of the pot. But here you cannot say the parents are the cause of the pot, it's just akasmat. The birth actually happened akasmat, and you thought it is because of the parents' contact with each other. And then they also give the example of particular kind of, there are certain kinds of creatures like small insects, worms, small bacteria, viruses, which are born from the sweat of living beings, other living beings. So human sweat or animal sweat. So in the sweat they are born, or they are born in moisture, which is the sweat of the earth, like moisture which comes from the earth, like moisture after rain or moisture from dew. When the moisture comes in contact with the ground, certain types of insects, small insects, viruses, bacteria, they take birth and then they multiply through that, right? So that they're called Svedaja. Sveda means sweat. So the Indian knowledge system identifies four types of ways in which creatures are created or birth takes place. The first is called Jarayuja. Jarayu means a womb. Creatures which are born in the womb of a mother. Jarayuja, like human beings. The second is called Andaja. Andaja means a creature which is born in an egg, from an egg, like birds, reptiles. Many of them are born from eggs, right? So they're called Andaja. And the third is Svedaja. And the fourth is called uh, Udbidja. Udbidja means that which is born from seeds, like plants. Plants and trees are born from seeds. So Udbidja are creatures born from seeds. So the Asuric argument, which is given here, is based on Svedaja creatures. It says that look at the Svedaja creatures; they are not born from anything. So the actually birth takes place even for the other creatures like that only. So even though you see a Jarayu or a Anda or a Udbija, actual birth happened because of some random reason and not because of the contact between parents. So Aparaspara Sambhuta means that. So this is one meaning, akasmat happening. The other meaning is the opposite, which says aparaspara. The word aparaspara in Sanskrit can also be used in the opposite sense, that is one another. Aparahacha parascha aparasparau tayoho sambhutam. Aparahacha parascha aparasparau. Aparaha means, paraha means the other person, aparaha means oneself. So aparascha parascha means one another. Like we say that, two people in a pair, they talk to one another. We talk to one another, each other. So like in the usage of each other, one another, two people in contact with each other. So aparaspara means that also, means two people in contact with each other. So aparaspara sambhutam means born of the contact of two people. But here the meaning used in the Asuri sense is that it's only because of that. There is nothing else involved. Only because two people contacted each other, two living beings contacted each other, it is born. That's all. There is nothing like Ishvara, Samskara, Karma, or even the intention of those people. All that is not involved. Just some contact happened and these people were born. This birth took place. And therefore, don't give much importance to it. So, finally, in the shloka, so Aparaspara Sambhutam is explained in the shloka in this manner. And the last part of the shloka, it says, Aparaspara Sambhutam kimanyat kama haitukam. What else? What more to say? I've already said all this. What more to say? It's all kama haitukam. Kama haitukam means, it's explained like this in the Vyakya. Baladeva explains this very nicely. He says, kama, swecha, or one's whim, that is the cause. That is, and this actually is, he's explaining a particular school of reasoning that Jainism uses. The Jainavada, Jainist theories uses this. It says there are multiple perspectives, Anekantavad and Syadvad. That is, whatever one's logic. See, anybody can give a logic, right? In the Mahabharata also it is said, Tarko apratishtaha, Shrutayo vibhinnaha, Nasau rishihi, Yasya matam na binnam. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam, Mahajano येन गतस्य पंथाः धर्मस्य तत्त्वं निहितं गुहायां महाजनो येन गतस्य पंथाः. It is the Mahabharata shloka. There it's making a different point. It just says tarka is not conclusive very often. So here the same reasoning is used. Jainism says that whatever one's logic is, one thinks that is the cause or that is the rule. One can use any logic and say this is how things happen, and that is the cause. According to that person, that is the cause. So, by somebody's imagination, somebody has said that there is something called Ishvara, there is something called Maya, there is something called Prakriti, there is something called Paramanu. And bringing all these concepts together, they have created a theory that this is how creation happens. So, this is for them the cause. For them, that is the cause. Or somebody else, they will say that it comes from some random event. For them, that is the cause. There is nothing called one single cause. So it is kama haitukam. Kama means their whim, their whimsical desire, whatever comes to their mind, their swecha. Kama means swecha. So that is the hetu. Swecha eva hetu. Their whim, their whimsical reasoning is the hetu for that particular phenomenon to happen. Okay, so this is Jainavad. And so Baladeva says that this Jainavad is also rejected here because Sri Bhagavan lists this in the Bhagavad-Gita as an asuri quality. Kimanyat kama haitukam. It's an asuri quality, and don't think like this. So the last shloka is philosophically deep shloka. It has many interpretations to it, it has many explanations, but all of them point to saying that these are different ways in which the Asuri people try to explain this world because they want to defend their own existence in terms of sensual enjoyment. They want to indulge more and more in sensual pleasures and justify their actions. So these philosophies are convenient for them. They conveniently help them to justify what they want to do. And therefore, this is something that we should reject if we want to develop daivi qualities and practice dharma. And if we want to experience the happiness of dharma, then we should reject all these qualities. So I've explained the first five shlokas which go into the asuri qualities, and with this we have reached now the eighth shloka of the 16th chapter. For today, we will stop here, and I will welcome you to ask your questions, offer your comments and questions. I will also allow you to unmute. You can unmute yourself whenever you wish to and ask me your questions.
Pranam Sir, Akshat here.
Yes, Pranam Akshat.
Sir, when we were speaking about the Asuri qualities, I think one of the qualities mentioned was a lack of gyan or wisdom.
Yeah.
So just wanted to understand a bit on that, in the sense that many of the Asuri qualities, essentially when we talk about, let's say, right conduct, speaking, not speaking rudely, for example, or anger, they seem to be, more in the control of people, in the sense that it is something which the people can control. But the lack of knowledge in itself may not necessarily be under, someone's control as such. There may be people who have just not had that opportunity or gotten that knowledge, or received receive that kind of knowledge essentially. So just wanted to understand and kind of reconcile that with this one.
Yeah, here it means not lack of theoretical knowledge of a skill or some subject, but it refers to the absence of the wisdom pertaining to the right things to do, things which are morally correct, things which take one, which elevate one, which help one become a better person. So that kind of discrimination between right and wrong. This is what wisdom means here, or agyana or jnana means here. It's not about subject knowledge, because most of us, or all of us practically, are born without any knowledge when we are born. But innately, you'll see people even at a small age have a certain kind of a tendency to do something good or not do something bad. Among children also we see this, right? When we grew up as children, we saw differences between ourselves. So it refers to wisdom of that type. It's something that we are born with, and something that can be developed also through shastra, through training, and so on.
Understood, sir. Sir, and on the last show that we discussed at some length, sir,
Hmm.
68.
Yeah.
Here again, while the direct words are, uh, I mean, the literal translation might be a little different, but essentially, the the interpretation that you spoke about is something which have come in from multiple commentators.
Yes.
Is that understanding correct?
Yes. Correct. Correct. The elaboration of this has come from the different vyakyas. It has come through parampara. So the two commentators that I am referring to, Vishwanath Chakravarti and Baladev Vidyabhushana, they have studied the earlier vyakyas by Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Sridhara Swami, Madhusudan Saraswati. So it all comes down from various earlier scholars. So the Vaidiki Parampara, by and large, there are similarities and between them disagreements on certain points. They are reflected on these Vakyas also. Correct.
So, would it be fair to kind of assume that there would be much more of a gap between I mean, while there are probably subtle nuances and differences between the Astic philosophies on the interpretation of this,
Yeah.
but probably the Gnostic ones would be far more divergent in the sense of Buddhism, Jainism, and Charvak, and all of these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there is a lot of divergence. So there are similarities and differences between all schools. Within the school also there are some differences between the way fine things are explained. For example, even between Vishwanath Chakravarti and Baladev Vidyabhushana, they both are in the Gaudiya school. And between them also there are some fine nuance differences in the way they explain sometimes the same thing. The same shloka they explain in different ways. Sometimes it feels like they are disagreeing with each other. It's possible. So these things happen. But by and large, you will see that, okay, still, they're still talking about something that we would call as good versus something that we would call as bad. At a higher level, you will see that they are united. That's why they are considered to be part of the same school.
Understood, sir. And sir, the Bhagavad Gita's or Sri Bhagavan's kind of explanation or stance on this would essentially, I think, sir, some classes back you had covered. I think when you spoke about Prakriti and Purusha and all of that, that can we can take that as essentially being the elaboration of the stance of the Bhagavad Gita on this aspect. I would assume. In the in the
Which,
sense what the universe actually is and how it comes into being and those
yeah,
parts.
yes, 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 yes. So what was explained earlier, for example, in the 8th chapter, in the 13th chapter, etc., in different places, the creation of the universe, in the 10th chapter also, 10th, 11th chapter, uh, are touched upon the source of the universe, how everything comes in the Ishwaras, everything is within him. All that is, yes, the Gita's explanation, correct. So what we are reading now is what the Gita says is not accepted. Gita rejects. What the Gita rejects is what we are reading now.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Jayashree wanted to say something or ask something.
Yeah, I wanted to say something.
Yeah,
In the sense, this daivi and asuri gunas,
yeah,
uh, we can see very clearly in the Ramayana.
yeah,
Of course, even in the Mahabharata, but Mahabharata being very elaborate and too many characters in it, may be little challenging.
yeah,
But the Ramayana is very clear about what is Daivi Guna and I mean, the people who have Daivi Guna and people who have Asuri Guna.
hmm,
So, like this Ajnana, if we take, uh, uh, or Jnana, if we take, there is a clear gradation in the way people understand who is Rama. There is one category of people like Dasharatha, Kausalya, Sumitra, and all his close people who relate to Rama in their own way, brother, son, a husband, whatever. And then there are rishis who know more than that, in the sense they know that he is Paramatma, he is Vishnu, he has come with a purpose. He has incarnated here with a purpose. So Valmiki brings out this aspect of Rama very well. And then there are ordinary, very simple Vanaras who don't know. I mean, Valmiki doesn't say whether they know or they don't know. But the ordinary Vanaras, they all like Sri Rama, they like Sugriva, so they want to help, they want to contribute in whatever way they can at the cost of their own life. So they don't know about his Paramatma nature or anything. So there's a clear gradation in the way people are aware about the jnana of people about Rama. So in the same way, even in our world, day-to-day world, the way we relate to our own Ishtadevas is also different. Um, like it's not taught, or we cannot the relation that we feel towards Bhagavan is not uh, taught, learned from a book. It is a feeling that we have, and it has come through several janmas, samskaras of several janmas. That is what is the jnana aspect that is being spoken here, is what I felt.
hmm, yeah. Yes, sampad is something that's accumulated over lifetimes. Correct. The accumulation over lifetimes is sampad, but it can evolve in this lifetime too. It's not that because we are born with it, the whole life we live only with that. We can evolve out of it, and we also can develop the asuri qualities if we go the wrong way. Both can happen.
Right. Right. So this life is like is like a chance. It's like an opportunity to which is completely in our domain, to increase the daivi guna in us or to increase the asuri guna in us. It's
Yeah.
completely up to us.
Yes. This life is the opportunity for doing that.
Yes.
A full lifetime. So by the time
Especially
we end,
the human life, particularly.
only the human life, not
Yes.
so the birth in which we are, and now that we are hearing the Bhagavad Gita, then our duty is to systematically work on it. Just like a sportsman works on their fitness, we have to work on this. This is our real fitness, inner fitness. Reflect on these things one by one, work on them. Do sadhana to make ourselves very strong in the daivi qualities and completely eliminate the asuri qualities.
So I just wanted to ask a question in this is the daivi gunas that have been listed by Bhagavan here. Can
Yeah,
we take them as markers to identify
yeah,
Sajjana Purusha here in this world, or a
yeah,
Guru
yeah, we can. That's why they are
even in
given
the
there.
world?
Yeah, through reading these qualities and knowing these qualities and observing the people around us, observing ourselves and the people around us, we can identify the people with whom we should associate, including the person whom we should go and approach as a guru, to be our guru, including for that person and to other people from whom we should learn things, etc. The role models that we should, emulate. So all that these daivi qualities are like they're giving us those meters, those references, they're reference points. Absolutely. That is the meaning of Shastra Chakshu, looking at the world through the lens of the Shastra, looking at everything through the lens of the Shastra. That shows the world in a completely different light. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobhramanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dhanyavada. We'll meet again next Sunday. Thank you.